All right, here we go. Take three. All right, friends, today we're going to talk about another habit that I see among emerging soloists that I'm going to call a solo killer. And I'm going to give you some remedy for that in just a minute. First, let me introduce my friend Nick. My name is Dave. I teach people how to play the saxophone, and we're going to talk about this in just a minute. But first, I'd like to talk to you about Laura, who wrote in last week. You know, when I was practicing this, it all seemed a lot smoother. Laura wrote in last week about a problem that she's having, and I paraphrase. She says that her solos sound like just phrases that are just stuck together. Now, with this caveat, I have not heard Laura play. And again, I'm repeating what I think that she wrote in her comments, phrases that are just stuck together. And I just want to tell you that that's actually not such a bad thing. Those of you who are doing that worked very hard to learn those phrases. I mean, there was a time when you wished you could play phrases and string them together and make a solo out of it. So this is not that bad of a thing, right? What you want to do is take it to the next level and realize that the phrases that are being played likely have nothing to do with the actual song that you're playing them in. You may have learned some phrases out of a Charlie Parker book, or you may have heard some things. Anyway, you memorized them. Maybe you memorized them in all 12 keys, and you figured out, to your credit, right? Yeah, that's not a bad thing. You figured out, to your credit, a way to fit them in to that particular piece of music so you could have a solo. All right. Now, here's the remedy. It's really simple. Learn the lyrics. That's it. Think about it for a minute. Do you want me, I might have to sing. Don't laugh if I do. Think about summertime and how that works. Summertime and the living is easy. Right? Now, I'm not a great singer, but you get the idea. Right? If you learn how the lyric lays out, this is going to help you get away from just playing abstract phrases that you picked up somewhere else, and you insert it into the song so that you can create a solo. So play the song, the actual song, and add that to your homework list. Learn the lyrics. Almost every song has lyrics. I'm astounded at how many songs that I thought didn't have lyrics actually do have lyrics. And even if there are, you're learning a lyricless song ahead, learn the head, learn it really, really well. Memorize it, get that inside your chops. Learn that in all 12 keys. And then see if that doesn't help extend your phrase idea and make that a little bit more of a continuous whole, okay? As always, put something in the comments below. I'd love to hear your process, and I will try to get back to you. Now, this is where we bring Nick in because he's going to play. We're going to work on some blues here together. And the solo killer, all right? The solo killer that I see so often in emerging soloists, you know. I mean, I'm talking about people that have you know, you've got your scales down, you've got your songs down, you've been showing up at the Sunday Jam regularly, and you've played a few solos in public now. And what happens so often is that you start on 10 or 11 and blast off, and you're out of ideas by the end of the fourth measure, second measure, fourth measure, eighth measure if you're lucky. You're just playing your heart out at the very top, just screaming away on your guitar or your saxophone or whatever instrument, and you got no place to go.
Yeah.
You got absolutely nowhere to go. And so we're going to introduce the concept of climbing the ladder, all right? Now, this is not, I have to, none of these ideas are original. I'm presenting things to you that I learned a long time ago. And this came from Daniel Jackson. So the late Daniel Jackson, I was fortunate enough to get to sit and study with him. He when I was doing that the same thing, he sent me to church, and he sent me to some of the Baptist churches in the area. And those pastors of the Baptist church they're fire and brimstone guys, but they don't start there. They get there, start down here, you know, and they start talking about familiar things. But let's do a little bit of a I'll show you what I mean by starting, you know, at a place that you can't come back from.
Okay.
You run out of ideas.
Okay.
We'll start hot, and then we'll work together on some ideas that would help someone build a solo from scratch. All right?
Okay. So slow blues?
Yeah. Okay. Wherever you got, Chief. Isn't he good? Round of applause. All right, here we go. Right then, the emerging soloist has run out of ideas. You're like, what do I do? So they repeat that. And you've heard this. You've done it. I've done it. He's done it. We've all had a solo break where we just like, okay. Now, why do we do that? That's a great question. Well, I think part of it is just not having enough opportunity.
Okay.
You haven't had enough time to play solos. I think it's a normal process of becoming a soloist, and that's why I call you emerging soloists, right? I think it's a normal process of becoming a soloist to start out there and realize, oh man, you know, I don't think I quite hit the mark. It's not quite what I wanted to do, but I don't know what it is. And maybe the other part of that is nerves, getting up in front of an audience. And then you realize that you're playing for 3 people, all right? There's a lot of self-talk going on up there. There's an audience out here, but you're also playing for the band. You're playing for Nick here, you know, and you want to impress the band and play with the band too. So you know what to do. Or maybe you're following a flamethrower guitar, and he ends up, you know, at the very the outer limits of the guitar solo. He's doing the Stevie Ray Vaughan treatment, and you got nowhere to go. I understand that. Well, you do have a place to go, and let's start by building the ladder. Okay, it's not such a bad thing just to play chord tones. Let's go back to the example of the preacher. Might start with some things that he sees around him, or things that have been said that morning, or maybe a little bit of scripture or something that sounds real familiar. In other words, he kind of starts from the front porch, a real familiar place, and takes you on this journey, right? Not such a bad idea to just play the chord tones in the very beginning. All right, let's do it again. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now here's what we're going to climb that ladder a little bit. Let Nick play a little bit, let the band breathe. That was last lesson. Notice I saved that top D for the back half of the solo. So there you go. Now, one of the things you have to think about, of course, and I'm including this in the overall theory, is that dynamics. You know, how many times have we played at the jams? And you know, Nick and I played, oh my God, for years, countless jams. You know,
Yeah.
lost count. And there's no dynamic at all. There's no dynamic. And there's the one instrument that's not plugged into an amp. And so you're trying to make something happen into a microphone through a PA system that is not yours and is not being regulated by you and that you're not allowed to touch. Right? So so you have to take all that into taking all that into account. I understand. So dynamics can be an issue, and sometimes, you know, you're loud from beginning to end. That doesn't mean, though, that you have to start up and, you know, at the flamethrower end of your saxophone. You can start somewhere else, and you can climb that ladder and build up to a solo, which brings the audience with you on this magic carpet ride of the story that you're trying tell with your horn. Right?
Yeah,
There you go.
I agree.
All right. As a solo chair, you've studied. You've put more study into playing solos than I have.
Well, I think I learn a lot by learning what not to do when you're with an ensemble, and you start to see exactly what you're talking about when people are up to 11 right away, and there's nowhere to go, and you see that, and you see the reaction of the crowd. You talk to your friends later, and they tell you how loud it was, so you learn what not to do. And then conversely, you watch other players who are the teachers, and you start to learn, how they're holding back, or they're using space, So it's a lot of learning.
And there may be a thing that there may be a sense of peer pressure because there may not be anybody at the jam that's there's no space or teaching or doing anything. They might just be blasting all the way through because they're in the same place that we are.
Right.
Everybody's a beginner at one level or another, right? And so we're in good company at jams because we all make the same errors. But stepping out from that and stepping apart from this, stepping up is just one thing you can do to help improve your solos as you progress on your instrument. And this applies to all instruments, whether it's keyboards, drums, you can be loud on drums, but bass, keyboards, guitar, all that, So anyway, big round of applause for Nick. Thank you.
Oh, stop.
Thanks for being here in your own home today.
My pleasure, Dave.
All right, that's all I got. I'll put my contact information in the description below. And of course, if you have comments, if you have ideas, if you have any questions, Laura, I sure hope we helped you out. Anyway, put them in the comments and I'll try to get back to you as soon as I can. All right, do good work, be kind to each other, play your horn a lot, and I'll catch you back here next time.
See you, Laura.
All right, here we go. I'm not even going to edit this part out. I want you to know, friends, that we're live all the way here.